Rec-
Chapter 13 is called The Departure, and this is the one we all already know. This is the one that she's most discussed on shows and is leaked and whatever. And is mostly addressed in previous chapters in the book. Um, Leaving the View. Uh, she talks about her maternal feelings towards Whoopi at the beginning, and how after the first 2 years those changed. When and saying that because Whoopi holds such an esteemed spot in culture and in America, that when she turns on you, it's specifically hard. And then she goes into a couple of examples of where Whoopi told her, stop talking, girl, stop talking. And after she finished talking, said, okay. Those two events both happened after she came back from maternity leave, when she was particularly unhinged. Um, so, so she thought that she had a good relationship with all of the women. They talked and texted individually, and while she was away on maternity leave, Joy had texted and asked for pictures of Liberty. And so when she got back to the View, she expected fanfare after her pregnancy, but didn't get it. She talks at length about the postpartum anxiety she felt, which she's talked about before, but she gets a little more specific about she literally thought that terrorists were going to attack her, that she was going to, the baby was going to get kidnapped. Someone was going to push down Meghan to steal the baby while they were out on a walk from the stroller. She was extremely paranoid about the baby's safety. I would say it probably was not safe for her to return to work if she was having those kinds of anxiety-ridden delusions. And whatever medication, because she says this was a medically diagnosed condition, that she was not on the right medication, because that level of anxiety shouldn't be present. But she says that's what she was dealing with when she went back. And to try to make light of a situation on her second day, she said, oh, you missed me, Joy. By the way, she misrepresented what she actually said in the audiobook, which is a funny thing to do when it's something that's on video. And then she misrepresented Joy's response, other than the fact that Joy said, no, I didn't miss you, Meghan. I'm now paraphrasing, but whatever. So she said that moment, was the most humiliating thing that had ever happened on camera, between, postpartum anxiety, her hormones, and now feeling like she was hated by her colleagues. She had had enough. She talks a lot about being the only conservative on The View, and how she was treated differently because she was the only conservative on The View. She takes some digs at the previous women who have held the position of being a conservative on The View, by saying that they said yes a lot and just agreed and went on, and that wasn't Meghan's style. She wasn't going to apologize for the Republicans. Well, there's a lot to apologize for. So again, she says she was treated differently from the beginning. Stories about her got leaked all the time, but not about the others. And she blames it on being the only conservative. And I just, Meghan, when your entire personality is based on being combative and, questioning and taking the other side. Like your entire personality is wrapped up in being this rabble rousing, you know, conservative. It's your personality that people are reacting to, not your views. I don't, it just boggles my mind how that whole concept just right past you. And you blame it on being conservative. In the last chapter, you complained that, conservatives feel like they can't say how they feel about things because they're afraid of the backlash. When your position is shitty and someone asks you to defend it, they're not saying you're a terrible person. They're saying, please explain your shitty position. And when Whoopi snapped back at you, it was because you were being a petulant little shit. Continually after you came back from maternity leave. And maybe, even though you kept saying on air, I'm not going anywhere, you're stuck with me. You constantly derailed the conversation. You skipped out on topics you didn't want to talk about. You changed the thing to whatever you wanted it to be. You would railroad through your time with a whole bunch of misleading facts, derogatory statements towards, the media, the Democrats, people in government. And when anyone challenged you on it, you just got, capitulant and me. So it's not your view, it's how you express it, and how you treat people. You openly said through this book that you took out your hatred for Trump on some guy in his General Milley in his administration, who was at your father's funeral. And then you complain right here in this book about you being considered an avatar for the Republican Party. And I don't see how you don't understand where your job isn't to defend the Republican Party at all costs. Your job is to have a conservative viewpoint on this show, apparently. No, I take that back. Your job was to have a viewpoint on this show. Whether you're conservative or not, it didn't matter. But when we're looking at an administration as abusive as the Trump administration and going through a global pandemic that was politicized, there's not a lot there to be able to defend. And you dug your heels in and attacked the other side. So when Joy says something to you like, I just don't understand how you can defend the Republican Party anymore after everything that Trump has done to your family, and and for you to not understand where that question comes from means you just aren't paying attention. She ends the whole thing with the whole family medical leave again. She feels that the View is not the View is a toxic work environment. We've heard all these stories. She says she's not mad at the View. She's not one of the ex-hosts who's going to say fuck the View. She still finds value in what that show does. She just doesn't think that it's pro women because it's not really friendly to working mothers, she says. And she blames all of this about coming back and after being a mom. And I don't know how she expected that just because she had a baby, people were going to like her more. I don't know. She has a weird set of expectations that go on in her head. and a general lack of understanding why things don't go the way they go in her head. Um, and not a lot of willingness to learn, but a lot of willingness to complain and play victim about it. So she calls on ABC News to give um, maternity leave to women. It's a call to arms for her. Um, I just think she would be better served um, to take a little time out of the media, stop focusing on what her brand is, stay home with your baby, try to figure out who you are outside of what anybody else thinks of you. Because that's a lot of work, um, but you'll feel a lot less persecuted and be a lot less angry if you do it.